Tips versus Forms webinar. I'm Anastasia, welcome, and I'm so glad to see you guys all here. Thank you so much for coming. Today we're going to learn cool stuff about the tips and forms. But first, let me know where you're from. I already see so many comments of you. We have over 100 people online. That's so exciting. We have Spain here, hello Canada, UK, Greece, Bahamas, Malta, Sweden, Croatia, Finland. Hello from a boat in Norway. Wow, Linda, that's kind of cool. Italy. Thank you guys so much for spending this Sunday with us, and I'm sure you will learn so many new cool things. So if you are first here, I will quickly introduce myself and guide you through the rules, and we will have the special hashtag for today's webinar. It's hashtag tips versus forms. If you will post something in stories, in your feed, in any social media, do not forget to use that so we can easily find it and like it and maybe give some comments. So I'm Anastasia Milton. I'm in the nail industry for 15 years already, and 12 I'm being there as educator. I have multiple awards, and also I did nails for cover for Nails magazine, and we had in our Nails Pro Academy school over 40,000 students, and it is possible only when we started teaching online, because live teaching is great as well. I love that. But when we went online, it's just possible to spread your knowledge to more people, because, you know, we're here all together from different parts of the world online at the same time. That's so cool, right? Hello, Dominican Republic, Slovakia, India. Hello, YouTube there as well. We have Germany, Austin, Alaska, Russia, Indonesia, Dallas, Texas. Awesome. All right, so here are the simple rules. They're super easy. I recommend you to turn off distractions. The webinar will take approximately 1.5 hours to 2 hours, and I promise it's going to be filled with useful information. So once you turn off all these distractions, you will be able to really dive into the new knowledge. Be active, ask questions. You can chat with, interact with each other as well. It happens all the time, by the way, and that's totally fine. That's actually great, I think, when you can share some tips, knowledge between each other as well. No spam or advertising, please. So today we are going to learn pros and cons of tips and forms. Are all tips and forms the same? Well, obviously not, and we are going to talk about that as well. Which one is better for acrylic, for gel, for polygel, and home use? So I had a question from you guys on the webinar page a lot. Which product are we going to use today? Is it going to be acrylic or gel or polygel? And I was like, should I post a poll on my YouTube or Instagram? I mean, really, what am I going to use? So first I thought it's going to be gel. Then I was like, well, no, maybe not everybody likes gel. And you know what I ended up with? We are going to use all of them, gel, acrylic, and polygel. I mean, because I know that you guys are working with different products, and I also wanted to show you that once you know how to work with any product, it doesn't really matter. So we're going to use them all. So if you have only gel today prepared for you for demo, that's fine. If it's polygel, that's fine as well. Okay. And also, I will show you a demo on tips and on forms, both of them, and I hope that you guys will be able to do 1 or maybe 2 nails as well together with me, and then you can share it, and I will definitely give some comments right here at this webinar. Also, we will have a live Q&A session, so do not forget to stay until the end, because I will do my best to respond to all of your questions. I will also review your works online. So guys watching from the YouTube, you will be watching exactly the same live stream and video as everybody else. But if you want to show me your work once you're done at the demo part, I recommend you to log in through nailsproacademy.com, because there's a feature of posting your pictures, like YouTube doesn't allow that. And also we will have a nail sculpting online class giveaway. So for a chance to win that, you also want to be logged in through nailsproacademy.com. And to see some webinar specials, we will be having some special prices for our new updated online classes. You will be able to see them also on our website. You can really read my mind. Thanks. Oh, you're so welcome. I'm like really glad that I can be helpful. Okay. No distractions. I'm literally sitting here popping bubble wrap. Okay. I mean, no distractions in terms of, scrolling through social feeds and things like that. But I mean, if you're just enjoying your beverage or, something like that, that's totally fine. So I got one comment on the webinar page regarding this webinar too. So I even decided to share it here because I just, like the question. It really makes sense. And it was like, why not just cut the tip into desired shape? And tips are so easy to use. And yeah, that totally makes sense. I mean, why can you just, take the tip and create anything you want from it? But the problem is that you cannot really carve anything from it. I mean, you can not carve anything you want, like edge nails or cube nails. You just can't. But on the other hand, how many clients do really ask for this kind of extreme shapes? Not much. Most of all, they want almonds, they want square, they want coffins, sometimes stilettos maybe, right? So, and we can do all that with tips, absolutely. But some clients do not have the perfect natural nail shape, right? Some of them are growing downwards. Some of them are growing upwards, like a ski jump nails. Some of them are just really fan, like wide. And once you attach the tip to this kind of nails, they will follow the shape of the natural nails. So if the nails are ski jump, the tip will be like that as well. And we'll get nails, well, that will look something like that. If we have a client with the wide nails, we need to choose the tip that will match with the sidewalls. Otherwise, there will be cracks on the sides and it will break pretty fast. So we choose this large size, and at the end, we get wide nails. Okay, so this is, here's the thing. For perfect natural nails, we can use anything. But if we have a different kind of nails, sometimes the tips, unfortunately, will not really change it. So that's why we need to continue watching this webinar. Now let's talk a little bit about tips. And if you guys are following me for a while, you probably know that I'm a fan of forms. I use them a lot, but it wasn't like that all the time. I actually used tips for the first 2 years of my work, only tips, because I just didn't like the outcome that I have with the forms. I just couldn't use them, even though they taught me that in a beauty school. So today, there are so many different kinds of tips. We have full cover tips, we have soft gel tips, we have regular tips, we have full well, half well, and well less tips. If you have no idea what it is, I will explain that in a minute. We have color tips, we have tips with the pre-made nail art, and we have French style tips. And maybe there are also a couple kinds I didn't mention here, but pretty much most of them are between these names. So these are full cover tips, and they existed for a very, very long time. They're, the tips that you just apply on the entire nail. That's why they're called full cover. But also there's the new generation of this kind of tips. They're also called soft gel tips. I believe a pre-nail was one of the first that came up with these tips. Now we also have Chiara Sky jelly tips. We have 1, 2, 3 Go tips by Exclusive Nail Couture. And this is a great product. And I also got a couple questions about those. So it's not going to be the topic of today's webinar because we will be talking about sculptured nails. But I still will give you a little bit of spoiler. We will be coming up with a new course for the soft gel tips really soon, next month. So stay tuned for more information about that. So overall, my opinion about the soft gel tips is that this is the great solution for nail technicians who do not know how to work with the product, for home use, for DIY users, for, just the situations when you do not have time, you need to do nails really quick without any problems. All right, so now these are the full cover tips as well. They usually have the exact shape and length that you want them to have at the end. You can actually reshape them as well, but the main idea is that you just, apply them and that's it. You're ready to go. Now we have full well tips. And these are the tips I used a lot at the beginning because that was all that we have back then. So what is a full well is this area that need to be attached on the nail, and it requires more blending because obviously this area, you just apply it and it probably takes 1/3 to 1/2 of the nail. And the biggest challenge when working with this is that if the client has a short nail bed already, you just apply it and it's already halfway of the nail is covered. Like it's really, hard to blend it now. Another problem is that if the surface of the natural nail is uneven, it's also so hard to apply this, full well area. So that's what they are. Now we have half well tips. Now these are a bit easier to work with because you see this area, it's less to glue the nail, and usually it's easier to blend them, it's easier to find the size, and we also have a well less tips that can be applied anywhere because they do not have this area and you can apply them whatever you want. So if you decide to work with tips, I recommend you to use whether half well or well less tips. Yes, okay, here we are. And now I just want to quickly explain why. Okay, so this is the nail. From the side view, and when you apply the like full well tips, like it usually goes like all the way to here. Okay, so we have tip here, we have glue, and the tips goes like this, probably, right? And then you apply the product on top, acrylic gel, polygel, whatever you want, and now we have, like the nail. So this means that here we have adhesion between the natural nail glue and the tip. And you probably know that it doesn't matter what's the quality of the tip, what's the quality of the glue, the adhesion between the product, any product, gel, acrylic, polygel, is always better. So that's why I recommend using a half well or even well less tips, because with these, this is what we will have. You will apply them only at the very tip of the nail. So basically it connects with the nail just here. And then you apply the product. So it's more like an acrylic nail. Well, yes, we have ABS plastic here, but we have less area with the adhesion between the ABS plastic and glue and the natural nail plate. And also during the next fill, the nail will grow out about like this length, and we will end up having mostly just acrylic or just gel on the nail. Make sense? All right, now let's get back to the presentation. Also, the full well tips, they're usually very flexible and thinner, which means that you can apply them anywhere, like even on the very tip of the nail. And also you see this shape, this curved shape, it also allows you to create a C-curve, because traditional full well tips, they're usually pretty flat. So if the client has naturally flat nails, we will end up with a very, very wide nails. That's the one I would recommend for you. And also we have nail art tips. I actually use something like that with a zebra design. So you have some art there, then you apply them, and it's kind of pre-made for you, which is an option as well. But not all tips are the same. So they are made of ABS plastic, and on top of this word ABS plastic, you can read the chemical name of it. So you need to seek for virgin plastic which doesn't contain recycled material, because you probably know that some tips are very thin and flexible, and once you trim them with a tip cutter, they just stay in their shape, while some tips will have this white residue, especially if you're working with natural or clear tips. So some tips have a virgin plastic, while some of them are made of the plastic that was already used, whether for another tips or something else. And obviously it's worse quality. So when plastic is remelted and reused, it can cause quality issues, such as they will not be as flexible, they will easily break. And if you've been working with the tips, you probably understand what I'm talking about. Like, some of them are so thick and it's so uncomfortable to work with them, while some of them are pretty flexible and easy to work with. So you need to seek for the virgin one. The question is, how do we know it's virgin plastic or not? I mean, consultants in the shops, most times they have no idea. So you just need to look for reliable brands. So the tips that I like are by Entity or Harmony. They have a pretty good quality tips. That's the one I can recommend for you. So seek for virgin plastic, thickness, and flexibility, because thick tips, I mean thinness, like thick tips are not that easy to work with, while the flexible ones will give you more opportunity to create a beautiful shape. Now let's talk about forms. So we have reusable and we have disposable, which are usually made from paper or plastic. Now, honestly, I never liked reusable forms. No matter how hard I tried, I never got the result that I liked with them. For the simple reason is that, I mean, you cannot really use one form for everybody, right? We all have different nail shape, and if you cut it, then it will not work for another person. So, you know, that's kind of a weird part about the reusable forms. That's why most nail technicians use today paper forms, which can be customized by cutting them and choosing the shape that you like. So what you need to look for when shopping for forms: stickiness. They have to be sticky enough to stay on the finger, because some of them, well, I actually have some examples, like this kind of forms. For example, they can hardly even stay on this paper. So you see, when I do something like that, you see, it's not even holding. It's about to fall off, and that's exactly what it does once you stick it to the nail. So you see, I'm trying, then I leave it, and you see it's slowly opening it up. Like, this is going to be a nightmare working with this kind of forms, because you see, they just don't stay. It's kind of hard to tell, because usually when you're shopping online, like, how can you tell? So the only way is to ask for reviews, you know, stuff like that. Another thing is material. So some of them are made of paper, some of them they're also like plastic forms, usually the clear ones. And plastic is usually more firm, paper is thinner, and originally plastic were designed for gel, but sometimes they use them for acrylic as well. So I think it should be something in between. You know, when forms are too thick, it seems like it's good, you know, it's gonna hold the curve and the shape, but not always. Sometimes when they're like too thick, they will just, you know, stay flat all the time. They will not really curve. And when they're too soft, like a thin paper, it's also not good, because you can just accidentally fold them. And another option that we need to be looking for is lines. So most forms have these guiding lines in the center, in between. Let me show you. Okay, so for example, these Harmony ones. So they have this line in the middle. And also they have these lines right here, which is really great when you're doing French style nails, or maybe you're doing an almond shape. Even if you're not doing the shape that exactly repeats this line, it will still help you, you know, to keep the center in place, to do the symmetrical lines. So they're really helpful. Also, you see, they have these lines, which are great when you're folding the form. So most forms do have some lines, but the more lines they have, the better, especially if you're just getting started. Some forms do not, well, I probably do not have those with me today, but some forms do not really have much lines, and if you're a beginner, that might probably not be very helpful. We have a question from Caroline. If you do nails with tips, can you do a fill or do you have to remove the whole nail? Yeah, you just fill the area that's outgrown. You rebuild the apex if needed, and that's it. No, you do not need to remove them all the time. Fill is pretty much the same with tips and forms. All right. Then, okay, so now you know what you need to look for when shopping for tips and forms, but when you should use tips or forms. Let's talk about that. Now, if you or your client have regular nails, and let's just take a moment to enjoy this, beautiful fingers and nail beds. Man, if you haven't hand nails like that, you probably do not need anything, like no extensions, right? Come on. But okay, so those who have regular nails, nails with not any obvious problems, you can use anything. Tips, forms, anything will work, like literally anything. Dual forms, all the technology. So if your client is lucky enough, just use anything you want. Now we have wide or fan nails. So by wide nails, I mean if you look in the cuticle area, it's narrow, and as it goes further to the free edge, it gets wider. So for these nails, if you will be using tips, you will have to pick the tip that matches with the width of the sidewalls on the bottom, like on the free edge, which means the size is going to be pretty big for each nail and they're going to look wide. That's why I think the best solution here is forms. And by the way, all these recommendations I'm giving to you now, guys, this all comes from just my experience. I believe there are no rules somewhere, no standards. So it's just what I recommend you to do, because like I said, I have 2 years of experience working with tips only, and all the rest 13 years with forms and sometimes tips. And that's just what works best, what I believe will work best for you and your clients. Now we have nails growing downwards, and there are also different kind of nails. Some of them are growing downwards just a little bit, while some of them, are really like a roller coaster. And with the tips, again, we have a problem that it doesn't matter how you try to glue it, it is gonna follow along the direction of the nail. And if the nails are just slightly growing downwards, which happens pretty often, that's fine. But if they're growing downwards like a lot, then you will get a nails that looks like this. So if you wish to fix that, forms will be a great solution here as well, especially, if a client wants, let's say, square shape for square shape, or coffin. I believe it's better if it's not, tilted downwards too much. So yeah, I would recommend to use forms here. Now we have ski jump nails, the nails that are growing upwards. And this is usually quite a challenge for any nail technician because they're really hard to work with. Some of them are jumping just a little bit, while some of them are, basically like that. And I had a few clients with that. So here, once again, here's the trickiest part, is that if you will apply the tip, it's gonna be ski jump as well. And having nails that are ski jumping is not only a matter of look, but it's also gonna be not resistant to breaks at all. Like, it's super easy to break this kind of nails if they do not have sidewalls. So the best way to fix that, again, is forms. Because you see, here's the thing, here's the difference between tips and forms. Tips, they are ABS plastic that is attached to the nail plate. So whatever direction nail plate gives the tip, it's going to follow along. While forms, they are not really attached to the nail, they are just large stickers attached to the finger, right, under the nail. And then with the product, with the brush, with your own hands, you sculpt the shape that you want. That's the main difference. Like, you can create anything you want from the nail, and form will just guide you a little bit. So we can fit the form upwards, we can fit it downwards, we can fit it to the opposite side. Let's say if the nail is crooked, that's the great thing. With the tip, yes, we can also stick it a little bit to the side if you want to fix the crooked nail. That's totally possible, but we cannot really apply it so it's gonna be downwards if we have a nail like that. It's just not gonna let it. Okay, now we have short and beaten nails. And it depends. There are different kinds of short and beaten nails. Sometimes they're badly short and beaten, sometimes not as much. Sometimes the skin is beaten as well. There are really different levels, and I know a lot about that because, you know, at some point I thought that all nail biters of my city are my clients because you know, I just had a lot of them. I guess it just started once I had this first client and I showed this work in my social media, and you know, everybody just started commenting. I still receive these messages a lot, like, oh, I've seen you're doing this short beaten nail transformations. Can you do that for me as well? So when I attended a nail school, they taught us to use tips only because there's no free edge. How can you attach the form underneath? You need to use tips. And we did. But the problem is, first of all, the nail bed usually is super short. So once you blend the tip, it's so hard to blend it along the sidewalls. Second problem is usually they're wide as well. So once you attach the tip, these nails look so wide. And also it's pretty hard to stick the nail, because, the tip, because we have sidewalls, we have front sidewall, and once you press it, the skin is not really letting you to press it all the way, right? So I personally prefer dealing with this type of nails with forms. If you guys are subscribed to our mailing, I've sent you the video a while ago, like maybe a few days ago, with this video. If you haven't seen it, you can check out my YouTube channel. So what I usually do, I just apply some product right on the skin, and then I fit the form and create the nail. So to me, it worked the best way. And now I'm talking not just how to transform this nail for a beautiful look to share on the social media. I'm actually working with this kind of people, and in terms of how they're gonna last, right? That's what matters. I mean, who wants beautiful nails that's gonna fall off within the next 2 days? So that's why I think form is really the best solution for short beaten nails in terms of how to transform them and also have them to last longer. I have actually wondered about the use of the stapled lines on the forms. Some of them has several. Yeah, so today I will be doing the ones on forms, and these lines on the sides, they're really helpful when you want to connect them together. So if you do not have lines, you just, you know, connect them whatever you want. But once you have this line, you kind of can see how to attach them perfectly together, and this will be really helpful to create symmetrical nail. Such long nail beds, yes. Okay, that's why so many people are allergic to glue. Yes, actually, I agree. I've also seen much more people having allergic reactions to glue compared to acrylic or even gel. I've heard that nail glue has 95 of the same ingredients as super glue and it's toxic. Is it true? Well, most glues that we are using in the nail industry are made of, contain, I'm sorry, I really forgot how to that ingredient in English, but also they vary. So there have been some glues I could not literally work with, like, you know, I just had tears all over my eyes, while with some, it's more tolerable. So it depends. You need to choose the reliable manufacturer, the reliable brand. But I absolutely agree with you guys. Like, I've seen the allergic reactions to glue really like a lot. I have some XXL nail forms that are butterflies, and they're the thickest, longest thing ever. I love them. They're off Amazon by Cats. Awesome. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I've used these butterflies as well. All right. Now let's proceed. We have oily nails with hyperhidrosis. Like nails, and they can have a different shape, right? Oily nails is more like the type of the nail or skin, not really the shape, but usually they're whether bitten or wide. And even though it seems like forms might not be the best idea, because I mean, how it's gonna stick if the, you know, if the skin is too moisty? But trust me, attaching the tip will be a worst nightmare. I also have had a few clients like that. And making tips that's gonna last on these nails, it was almost impossible for me. Like, it's, guys, this is a super challenge. That's why I think forms might be a better solution here as well, because at least you can dehydrate them. You can like apply dehydrator a few times so they will not be as wet. Then you can feed the form, do the nail, and that's it. So here you can attach just one form, create the nail, then do the next nail and do the next one. So for me, acrylic worked the best because you can just apply it one by one, but polygel was okay too, but only with forms. Honestly, I never could create a nails on hyperhidrosis client on tips that I enjoyed. Like, I just couldn't do it. Question: if a person has a badly broken thin nail like me, what's the best way to get a lasting attachment for acrylic? With forms, like we just talked about in the previous slide. All right, looks like it's time for a demo. And we are going to prepare here with my model. And if you guys have any questions, just feel free to ask them. But we will have a Q&A session at the end as well. And I do not have any trash anymore. Okay, I'll just put it on the floor. Because we were just doing, you know, some photo shoot before the webinar, and we took out this trash. So it's gonna all look pretty. Is it not dangerous putting acrylic on skin of bitten nails? That's actually, yeah, great question. So normally we're not supposed to apply product on the skin. So that's why what I do, first of all, you need to look on the skin. It should not be like red. It should not have any wounds, cuts, or anything like that, dryness. You know, if the skin looks normal and healthy, what I do, I take consistency closer to dry. So it's basically almost like a polymerized acrylic, well, kind of. And then I do this little extension. And then we do the rest of it. Because with gel, you cannot do that. With polygel as well, you cannot change the stage of its polymerization because it's done only in the lamp, right? That's why I think acrylic is better here. But you need to look for it. If the nails are like, have something on the skin that you think might be allergic, then yeah, you should definitely avoid that. And then you need to feed the form. There are actually also ways to do that. All right, let's switch to the different view. And okay, so here we have regular nails. Okay, let me put on my gloves. Can you show how to get a good sticker with tips? Yes, that's exactly what I'm about to show you now. I have a client with this problem. I have to use acid primer and acrylic gel just lifts off. Yeah, if you're talking about the hyperhidrosis, absolutely. Acid primer and acrylic, yeah, is a great solution here. This is why I learned with forms. Okay, so we have nails that we just took off the old product, so we do not need to do any further prep. We just filed it off, so they pretty much matte already. Okay, so let's do the tip first. The reason why I'm doing tip and form, I just want to show you that, well, I think the most important skill is product application. Once you know how to do that, you can use any product, any technique. The reason why I choose forms for like 98% of my clients is because it's just faster, you know. When I was measuring the time, it just became so obvious that, you know, picking the right size of the tip, blending, cutting it to the shape, it just took too long. You know, fitting the forms were just faster for me. But if you're just getting started, it might not seem as fast for you. That's why I think it's important to learn how to do that. So then you can use any technique that you like. Okay, so now it's matte, and we're going to use tips this time. Okay, so I have Harmony clear tips, Perfetto. They're called the clear tips. So then you need to choose the size that will fit the nail, and you need to choose it by looking at the nail and the tip not only from the top but from the side view, so it will match from one side to the other. Now this time, this one seems to be like fitting, but let's just to be sure pick the smaller one, because who knows, maybe it's gonna be a better option. Well, this one kind of fits, but I need to press really hard, and also you see if it goes all the way to this side wall and I just keep holding it, it's not gonna cover the another one, you see? So if you're gonna glue a tip like that with a missing sidewall, it's not gonna last. And also these are like well-less tips, like we do not have well, so I'm going to apply it to the, like this, at the very edge, because remember the last area that intersects with the nail, we have the better. But I mean, if it's gonna be like that, like, it's just not gonna attach. Okay. Now before, thanks. Do you separate the skin after creating extension on the beaten nail? Yeah, a little bit, because you need to fit the form. So you just take the orange wood stick, or you can use the animate like pusher, and you just gently separate it. Okay, so we use the hydrator. You apply it on the entire nail and wait until it dries. Okay, it's probably not gonna dry here because we have some leftover of the old product, but that's fine. Then I'm gonna do it again. Okay, so also if you do not have a glue, you can use for dip system, base coat can be used as well, but you need to look carefully because some of them might be really slow, so you will end up wasting too much time, you know, just waiting for it. That's why I will be probably using the special glue better. But just so you know, it's gonna work as well, because you know sometimes you're like, oh no, I have a client and I ran out of this product, so there is an option. Okay, so what I recommend you to do is first, if you're right-handed like me, then you need to take the tip in your right hand and hold it like that so it just feels comfortable for you, because you will need to hold it like that, you know, for like a few seconds, just like that. If you're left-handed, then you do the same with the left hand. Okay, now this feels okay, and then just keep holding it like that. Do not change any position, you see? And then with your left hand, which in my case is non-dominant, I'm going to apply glue. That's probably too much, but we'll see. And then, yeah, that's a bit too much on the top, but we're going to quickly clean it. It is better to add a bit more than less, because if we will have bubbles, then it's gonna be no good. But if you apply like way too much, then it's just gonna take you way longer to cure. Okay, where's my magic lint-free wipe? So this glue is fast, but not as fast as me. So I'm still able to clean it. So you see, I was not just holding it from the top, and then I separately hold these corners, so it will go a bit deeper and we will have this curve. I met some girl who glued the tips with a small bit of acrylic. Yeah, I think I heard that. I don't know. Like I said, I just stopped using tips eventually. Well, you have to feel the consistency of acrylic really well then to be able to do that. And also, yeah, I guess you need to do it like, yeah, actually sometimes it happened that I glued myself to the client. That happens, but if you're wearing gloves, I believe that's not as embarrassing as when you're not. How much time do you guys take it to a full set? Yeah, I'm actually wondering if you share, because for me it really depends on many things, like the client, what am I doing. Okay. So also you can do it right away, because you know sometimes the skin can be glued onto the tip, And like if you separate it right away, it won't be a problem. So you see, yeah, we have some extra glue here, but okay, we'll just leave it. So normally you do that, and then you apply the tip to the other 10 nails, and by the time you do that, this one is fully cured, so you do not need to worry that it's not yet. But when we're working with one tip, let's just wait for a little bit longer, just to be sure that we're not gonna clip it off together with the tip. So then I'm gonna make it shorter. Then we need to take off the surface shine and to blend it. So since these tips are very thin, there's not that much blending to be done, because you see that here we do not have that much area to blend. So the most important thing is that you need to blend the tip. So basically we're going to file just the tip, not the nail. It's not like you take the file and file them both until they reach the same level. No, no, no. You take the product and make it thinner, so it's going to be at the same level as the nail. That's why you need to attach it like as close as possible to the free edge, but on the other hand, you have to leave some area to be able to blend it, you know, because sometimes if you apply it like right here and you blend it, and it might end up having a hole right there or even falling off. All right. So we're going to do one nail with the tip and another nail with the form. Okay, I hope it's time. Now let's make it shorter. Okay, so maybe like this. Yeah, right. I mean, it's not gonna be fun if we make it any thinner. So then we just slightly shape it. It's better to do it now, so you will not need to do it again. And now here comes the blending. So remember, we're going to file only the tip. That's why we start from the top. So you see what I'm doing? I am taking off the surface shine, and then you see this white line right here. So it's like the dust falling right here. And once you see this line, that means it's not blended yet. It's not like fully blended. Sorry, I was just checking your comments. So you see now this line is slowly disappearing, like right here, we cannot see it anymore. And that means that this part is finished. So you need to go all the way from one side to the other. Now let's do the opposite one. So in our online classes, at the beginners class level 1, we have just one practice with tips, because when you're just getting started, I believe at least once, you need to try it on tips so you can focus on product application rather than form. You know, like with tips, you already have the shape pre-made for you. And then we focus entirely on forms, because that's the most challenging part. You need to learn how to fit it. You need to learn how to apply the product, how to shape the nail, and so on. Okay, so we're almost done. Just have a little bit here. So it's important to do this part, because, you know, if you will just leave this area, we will definitely have bubble there and later product lifting. So it took me many, well, not years, but months, and some disappointed clients, and overfiled nails, unfortunately, to learn all that. But yeah, like the most important part, you need to just file from the side of the tip. Yes, thank you. We're doing our best, guys, to stay in the frame, which is really challenging, especially when filing. So you see, now we have the shape, and all we need to do is to apply the product, but it just took me a while, you know, and it was just one tip. Now with 10 nails, we need to pick the tip, this right size for each one, then we need to cut them all, then we need to blend them all, and now we get to do the application. When I will be doing forms, I will show you that basically we're doing all the same, but we're going to create the tip by ourselves, like with our own hands. Okay. Right, so let's use acrylic here, and then the nail-on forms will be made with polygel and gel. so it blends and you get a smooth transaction when the product is applied. Exactly, Vicky, but that's not the only reason. Like I tried not blending them and ended up with a bubble right here, you know, the lifting. So yeah, it's not only for that purpose, but so that's why when you're doing these designer tips, you do not blend them because you want to keep the design. And yeah, eventually, well, it depends on the nails. Like on some nails, they're not gonna lift, but on some, they will. Okay, let's do acrylic. So I am going to use a deepen dish, and let's do some fun color. Actually, probably this one. I haven't really even tried it, so let's do it together. It's the color by Glam and Glitz, Jaunty FA 541. A little bit of monomer. Oh my God. Okay. We're not breathing. Okay, done. Would you ever use tips to apply gel? Yeah, yes, you can. But now I will show you with acrylic, because with acrylic, at least you can pinch them. With gel, you can do all the same, but with gel, you cannot pinch them. That's the difference. But yeah, it's all the same. So you see, now we have like a platform, and you can apply anything you want on the top. And also I will need clear acrylic. Well, I have this in a different package because I just wanted to have less stuff to take with me. Okay, so we already did the prep, but it won't hurt to apply dehydrator on the nail plate again. And primer, which we also need only on the area where we have a natural nail. I will be using a non-acid primer, this one by NSI. It's non-acid primer for acrylic system. Now, well, I believe with these tips, nothing's gonna happen, but with acid primer, sometimes when you apply it on the tips, it may cause some yellowing. Do forms work when you then apply the material with dual forms? Like you create the nail on the forms and then put the dual? I don't understand, because with dual forms, they sculpt the entire nail with apex as well as form. So I don't understand why we would combine them. All right, let's do the sculpting. You guys ready? We are going to start with, I just want to make sure that the color is pretty enough. Okay, it is. Because I have a few other options. Okay, so since I'm working with the glitter acrylic, it takes a bit longer to cure. That's why you see at this point it might look a bit wet. So the thing about the tips is that, like I said, we already have the shape and the length, so you do not need to worry about it. And you can focus only on the product application. That's why I think that using tips is, like, I recommend to do that when you're just learning, when you're doing like basically your first steps, first tries of the product application. And once you do that, I recommend you to really start learning how to do forms, because with forms, your opportunities will be, unlimited. And using forms is basically, like I said, creating a tip by yourself. The only difference is that you can create it of any shape, length, and curve. Also, with the tips, you cannot make them like extremely thin, right? You need to add some product right here. And now let's add, well, maybe we don't even need it clear. Well, we'll see. So then I apply another bead closer to the cuticle. Ooh, yeah, the color is nice. And blend it. So near the cuticle, it's very important to have a thin product. And application, I mean, the structure of the nail is all the same, whether you're using tips or forms or gel or acrylic. It's like, it doesn't change. That's also a great thing about learning. Let's say if you are acrylic nail technician and then you decide that you want to master gel too, it's not like you need to start from scratch. I mean, yes, you have to learn how to work with the new product, but you, like most of the skills you're going to use are the same, like the prep, shaping, and many things. Okay, I'm not sure that we even need to encapsulate it, but yeah, let's just do it just a little bit, because I don't really want to lose any of this precious material. So you see how wide this nail looks now, but I will show you how we can fix that in a moment. Okay, so yeah, I will just slightly encapsulate it because we already have enough product here. So it's gonna be like a thin encapsulation. Because remember, like originally polymer, acrylic, it's clear. Any colors, glitters, anything you see is an add-on. That's why it's better still to finish up the structure with the clear. Or let's say the cover, pink, like this kind of colors, they're created from pigments that were made in a factory. So also that's a bit different. Okay, now we sealed it and we're gonna wait a little bit. Somewhere in the middle of tech and beginner. I like that, like the description of nail tech for 4 years now, beginner. Awesome, yeah, I know that we have many beginners here, and also I see so many familiar names of the people who are constantly attending our webinars and even our students from Nails Pro Academy. That's so great, guys, that you just keep learning. So that's pretty much it. You see, the application part did not take really long. It was mostly the tip part was definitely longer. Okay, so with acrylic, you can pinch the nail even if you're using tips. And I'm going to use probably my own hands because I can. I'm wearing gloves. Acid primer is more suitable for oily nails since it kind helps oil to dissolve and make it better adhesion. Non-acid primer is better for normal nails. Exactly. Okay, so also we can, well, this part is not fully cured since we use the glitter product. And also tips, as they're plastic, they have memory. So wherever you try to pinch them, they remember who they are and they want to come back. That's why we need to do it for a while, like whether you need to use a clip or really hold it. Like with forms, it's much faster because there's just acrylic that we're pinching, right? And here we're pinching acrylic that needs to be fully cured to convince the ABS plastic that's underneath to stay in that position, okay? Does it help to file a tip underneath before applying the glue? Yeah, you can actually do that for the better adhesion. Like I said, if you apply it on a very tip, well, I didn't do that for the sake of time, but yeah, you can do that. Oh, okay. And now I think I understand what you guys are talking about. I have heard of techs who have tried this technique. I use forms on clients and dual forms on my daughter because she prefers extreme length and shape. I use needle beat to clean up whatever I wasn't able to smooth, and I brush from the underside. Okay, so I thought that you were talking about the dual forms and applying the regular form underneath, so you do not really need to blend it, right? If that's the one you're talking about, I tried that. And the problem is, if you know how to take the perfect amount of product, you're good. If you do not, if you take more product than you need, that the product will squeeze out at some point, and if you have dual form on top and then you have form on the bottom, it's gonna squeeze out from the length of the nail, and you need to file that anyways. Acid and non-acid primer both have acid from those I've read ingredients. I assume much less. Yeah, so what we learned at the chemistry class, that non-acid primer, it has like a different kind of acid, yes, which has less exposure onto the nail plate, but it's not like it doesn't have it at all, exactly. So we still need to be careful. We still should not apply it on the nail. Okay, so you see now we have a curve, and that's possible only if you're using the tips that are pretty flexible, and you need to hold it all the way until the acrylic cures so it will stay, because you know, if you pinch it and then it pops up again, it's no fun. That's why I'm going to use this device just to be sure that it stays. Okay, so now we have one nail finished. Let's do another one. On forms. Also tag Addicted to Learning More and More, especially tips and tricks to make work easier and more enjoyable. Awesome, you are in the perfect company, because I believe most of us are like that. Okay, so next we're going to use form. And since we decided to use all the products today, we're going to use polygel and gel. You see we have some dust here after work. By the way, that's another thing I don't really like about tips. I mean, I'm sorry if we have people who love tips. It's not like I hate this technology. Just, you know, another inconvenient part is that when you blend them, when you file them, you have dust, so then you have to clean your station up, and then you continue working. Now, to do nails on forms, you need to fit the form. And the challenging part here is that you need, okay, I will let you rest for a little bit and switch to the different mode. So I just wanted to give you some explanation. So we have different kinds of nails. We already are aware of that, right? And when you fit the form, there are a few things you need to consider. First of all, when you fit the form to here, it should not have any gaps, because if you do, especially right here, then most likely we might have cracks on this side. Also, when you look from the side view, today we will be talking about the classic form fit, okay? Because they're different depending on the shape, on the length, but let's say we'll take a classic today that applies to square, coffin, oval, like most salon shapes, and middle length. So when you look from the side view, it should be straight. So here we have a nail that's a little bit ski jump, but regardless of that, the form, so if we apply the form that is following the direction of the nail like this, it's going to go up, and we do not want that, right? We want it straight. So then when we will apply the product, it's also going to look straight. Now, that's the same one. Okay, so here are like short beta nails, and probably one of the most challenging nails, you guys, and yeah, for me definitely one of the most challenging nails to work with. So I explained one technique when you apply the product on the skin, but there's also another one where you just fit the form according to the nail. So you need to cut it in a certain way that it will perfectly fit under the nail, and no matter how wide it is, it should match with the size of the nail. If it's going to be more narrow than the nail, it will have a crack and eventually will break. If it's going to be wider than the nail, it's not that much of a problem, but it's just the nail will look wider. And from the side view, again, the form should be under the nail, but in this case, it's not possible because there's no free edge, right? Just no way you can go deeper there because there's just skin. So in this case, it's going to be on the same level as the nail, like right on the same, but not on top. Because once it's on top, we will not have product right here, and it's also not going to be what we're looking for. All right, so now we have nails that are growing downwards. Usually they have this kind of shape, an oval shape, and you need to cut the form deeper so it's gonna fit. And also when you look from the side view, you want to follow direction of the finger, not the nail. If you fit the form so it follows direction of the nail, it's, we'll have something like that. And if we want to get a straight nail, then you want to fit the form straight. And here we have, oh well, that didn't fully fit, but I guess that's not a problem. You guys already know, okay, we have a different kind of it. So this is standard, normal nail without any problems, and it's all the same. So it should fit from one corner to the other. And here the form goes into one point, and we do that whenever you want a tapered shape, such as stiletto, almond, coffin, or even just a tapered square. And from the side view, once again, it should be straight. Usually when you have a straight nail, it's not as hard because it's kind of, following along. But that's what you should see from this view. These tabs of the forms, they also have to be perfectly together, because sometimes you can see something like that, like the part of another form. You don't want to do that. And also there was a question like about this side tab, right, this line. So usually this line will be somewhere here, and it's just helpful because you want to connect them by the forms that do not have these lines. You just imagine it, and then you just put them together like that in a line. I do not recommend doing that like all the way up, because you will also tilt the form up. And if you want it to remain straight, like we do in most salon shapes, you just want to do this like in this direction. You're going to move your finger. Okay. Now let's do this. Will this webinar be available for us after you're done? Yes, it will, but that means that you guys are going to miss the fun part, the Q&A and the giveaway. Okay, our model is getting back, and we are about to do forms. Now this nail is definitely cured by now. Now let's do this one. So I'm going to do base with polygel and then the structure with hard gel. So we're going to combine this product. The form that I'm going to use will be by Tones. This is one of the brands that I can recommend. Also, I like the Harmony one. So you see, they also have plenty of these lines. So you can easily fit it. So I think I'm not going to use this middle part. Sometimes you can. Well, I think I don't really need that for this client. And I'm going to start cutting it while it's still on the paper, because it will be easier to, to try if it fits while it's still on the paper. So we need to cut the white according to the white of your natural nail. And the more you do that, the more you will kind of feel how it works. So now I'm just following the line that we already have on the form. Nothing like new here. And then first you just do the cut that you think might work. And then you just check it if it does. Okay, so now if I will make it look like it fits, it's gonna be way upwards, which means I need to do a narrow cut right here from the sides. And also, you see, I didn't cut the paper perfectly. So I know that some nail technicians are not using forms because they have this struggles when fitting them, because they just don't want to just don't know how to fit them and are not happy with the result that they have. And I totally get that. It's quite challenging, to tell you the truth. Even experienced nail technicians who have many clients, even who win some awards, sometimes they come to my class and they are still struggling with the forms. Like, it happens. Because, you know, it's pretty hard. Okay, let's try in this direction. Yeah, so I can see it like a straight nail. Okay, so this part is a bit wider. So I'm going to narrow it up. I think that's gonna be it. So yeah, it takes practice, it takes the understanding on how to fit the form depending on the nail. So you see now it's perfectly under the nail from one side to the other, just like the tip. It hurts? No? Okay, now before I apply the form, I just want to get my products ready. And we are going to use pretty much the same products. I'm going to apply dehydrator. I'm going to apply non-acid primer on the entire nail this time because we do not have any tips. Thin coat, do not apply too much, do not touch the skin. And then I'm going to use a base coat. So I really like this one. It works with any product. But if you have the system that, like the gel system, that already has its own base gel, it's better to use the one that they offer. So here again, we need to have a very thin coat. Do not touch the skin, do not apply too much. It's okay if you leave a tiny gap, a tiny margin near the cuticle, and then we cure it for 30 seconds. If we have a tiny gap between the natural nail and form, will it cause a big problem? Well, yeah, Jenny, I like how you ask the question, like a tiny gap. Well, tiny, it might be a bit different. Well, it depends. If it is truly a tiny, and if you're using thick consistency polygel and acrylic and you are able to fill that tiny gap with the product on air, and the nails that you're working on are like standard nails, then probably it's gonna be fine, no big problem. But if you're dealing with oily nails, with beaten nails, with thin consistency gel that's definitely going to fall down up to this gap, then it will cause the problem eventually. But ideally, you should not have any gap, like that's the whole point. So when we feed the form, then we apply the product. We need to create something that we just had with the tip. So I will be using IBD Control Gel Clear. And also I have this special liquid for polygel, and I have a brush. So you see I have two same brushes. They're not really look the same, but they are. I mean, they used to. And this one is for polygel, that, you know, the one that has glitter on. So I just know that I'm going to use it for polygel only because you cannot mix them. You know, this one's for polygel, it's going to be only for polygel, nothing else. Okay, so now I'm going to feed the form. I'm going to take it off from the paper, connect this lower tabs. Oops, sorry. I'm working so many years online and still sometimes I forget that I'm not just here alone with my thoughts and clients' nails. Okay, so also now when I'm doing this, I remember there was a great question about how do you manage to feed the forms with gloves, because they tend to stick to them. Yeah, that's a great question. As you can see, yeah, I do struggle a bit even still, but I mean, you know, just get used to it, because I mean, you can take them off, but now with all this corona stuff, it's better not to. So, you know, you just get used to it. You just try not to touch the sticky part too much. You mostly touch this area, And that's pretty much it. So now, if you're not sure, you want to take a look from all of the views, like, let's see if we can do it like that. From this view. So you see, we actually do have a little gap right here. And the gap not here from, so you see, like from this view, it's all good. No gaps here. But the gap from this view, sometimes there might be a tiny one, because if the client's, sorry, if a client has, let's say, a flat nail, and you want to create a deep curve, then, well, there will be a little margin. Also, some clients has, you know, like a U-shaped curve, and you want to create a different one. But remember, you need to try to still flatten it down so it won't be like that different. So the gap, like somebody was asking, should be like super tiny. I don't know if you can see it, but you see it's so tiny you cannot even see it. Okay, so we can take off the sticky layer from the base coat now if you want to, but we don't need to. Now, so you see now, does it look like the scheme I showed you on the paper? So we have a nail and we have form that's perfectly straight according to the shape of the finger. Now I'm going to use polygel. And since I'm going to create a tip now, remember? So that means we need just a tiny bit. Hopefully this will be enough. Well, if it won't, we're just gonna take more, right? And then let's apply it. You do not really need to apply it so it touches the nail, but since the polygel I'm working with is rather thick, it's just easier to do it that way. But you can just start working on the form. And yeah, clear product is probably not the best option so you guys can see all the details, but you know, we just want to do a glitter nail too, so I had to sacrifice for it because yeah, nude color can be definitely seen better here. Oops. Okay, so yeah, actually clear product is, well, you need to really be careful when applying that because even I cannot fully see everything. And now you cannot as well because I'm blocking the view. Okay, so you see I have this a little bit remaining on my orange wood stick and I'll just add it. So sometimes you just want to add a little bit more to this side just to make sure you do not have an empty space there or a gap. So if you miss some space there and you have a gap, that's not that big of a problem because I mean you can add it later, right? But I recommend you just try doing this perfect platform like we just had a tip. Oh my God, now I can not see. Yeah, now I see that we're missing a little bit of the sidewall right here. We're going to add it. Well, that's the advantage of gel and polygel. You can have all the time in the world, or well, all the time that clients allows you to work on her to fix the product. Like with acrylic, well, with acrylic we can add 2 on the form, but still it's limited because it cures on air. While with gel or polygel, it will only cure in the lamp, so you have, okay, more time. Okay, well, I hope that's enough. And we're just cure. Can I use acrylic powder to thicken a runny polygel? Oh, polygel. Carry, well, you can, but I talked about this with many brands, and what they say that you can and it will work thicker, but you are also changing the formula. So after adding acrylic powder, it's going to be harder to file, and also you're basically adding some, something from the outside, so it also might affect the color, like you may have this tiny dots in it. So, I mean, just be aware of that. And also, I do not recommend, if you do that, I do not recommend to apply directly on the nail. So then you will have to apply first a regular polygel or gel, and then when you apply this on top, it might be okay. But you need to be careful when mixing things like that. Okay, When I put the polygel on the form, freeze cure it and pinch it, sometimes lifts off because of the nail of the pinching. That means you're pinching too late. Or maybe the layer is too thick. So, okay, I'm gonna check. Well, we do not really need to take off the form right now, but I will, because I want to show you. Otherwise, you guys will not be able to see. Okay, so this is a self-made tip. Well, I didn't pinch it now because it's rather thin, and also you see I fit the form in a certain way, so it's not really wide right now. And then we're going to apply gel. So if you want, if you need to, at this point you can also file and shape it a little bit. I mean, what I would want to shape probably, well, this line a bit, but other than that, not really. So let's just not waste time on that now. As for a sticky layer, also we do not need to take it off, but I think it's better to do that because the sticky layer from polygel is a bit different than the one from the gel, and it just will be a bit more comfortable to apply on it. And also once we do, it's a bit matte and it's a bit easier to see. Yeah, I think you can see. I just want to show you the thickness, so how thin it is now. Pretty thin. And you see the curve? So the only way to achieve that is by fitting the form properly. Okay, so now we're going to apply gel. And according to the length, yeah, I think I'm going to do that in 2 steps. Oh yeah, I am going definitely to do that in 2 steps since I'm going to use the color. But even if I didn't, I would probably do that in 2 steps because clear gel, when applied in a thick layer, right away might have heat spikes. But since today we have a glitter party, we are going to use this beauty, and I have no idea. And Professional, that's the only gel that I have from this brand. I just really like the color. Okay, guys, yeah, I see all your questions. I will run through them after the demo. All right, so first I'm going to apply just to see how this beautiful color looks like. I just have concerns, if it's going to be too much of a see-through. But if it will, we'll just apply something on top. All right. Also, this gel is rather thin. That's why I cannot really apply too much. Oh my God, yes, it's extremely thin. So if we apply too much right now, it's just gonna run to the sides. So we're gonna create it. Yeah, I guess we're gonna need a couple of layers of that, and then we can seal it with clear. So when a gel is thin like that, you don't even really need to do anything. You just kind of direct it where you want it to go, and just make sure it will not flood the skin. And that's pretty much it. Okay, so we have some product missing here, and I will show you how to fix that soon. Meanwhile, we'll cure it faster. How to get clear polygel to not have any bubbles or texture while spreading. Well, when you're applying that with your brush, you need to just gently pat it, you know, not like this. Don't be rough. Do not make too many moves. Do not disconnect your brush from the product too much. You know, you just apply it, and you know, once you do like that, you won't have bubbles. Also, if you're using this kind of tube, well, I didn't do that now. Yeah, well, almost. So what you need to do is just to squeeze it so it goes, you see, right here, and then you close it. Because if you won't, see what happens? The air will like suck it back, and then the bubbles may eventually appear. I gotta hope it's not. Okay, not bad. So yeah, let's do another layer. I will do exactly the same stuff. Yeah, we don't even need to do this slippery layer because this gel is so thin. You just apply it. Okay, so I will take another drop and go all the way from the cuticle towards the free edge. So you see, I'm mostly applying it in the middle because it will spread on the side walls a bit by itself. Well, we are going to help the gel to do that, of course, but it's also going to help you. Okay, cure. Well, we need to be pretty fast when working with this kind of consistency. Anastasia, where do you get those silver backings you use to put on the back of the form to make it thicker? What's it called? Yeah, I'm actually in my course, I'm explaining how to use them as well. So they're called form stiffeners or form hardeners. They're pretty hard to find, but Kisa from Nails Pro Academy, she gave a great tip that you can find them. It's like aluminum foil, and you can buy it in any store where they have something like that. Like, you need to ask for the thickest aluminum foil that they have, and it's not like exactly the same, it's a bit thinner, but it also works pretty great. Okay, so then we need to build a structure, and I'm probably gonna use this one, Clear Smooth. This one is by En Vogue. So is this hard gel over polygel? Exactly. Yeah, so my goal was to show you as many products as possible, so that's why I pick all three, and just to make it a bit faster, we did 2 nails. Like, if you can do the same using just gel, or you can do the same using just acrylic. I think this color is gonna look great on black, because yeah, on clear now it looks a bit yellowish. Anyway, so we can take just a huge drop right now and seal the entire nail, but it's better if we will straighten out the surface first. So you see here, like, we have a bit of uneven surface, and I want to fix that first. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just applying gel right here, only on the free edge, and then I'm going to take I don't know, I call it thread, like a thread, and just put it from this side to this, and that's enough. And basically it's gonna fill this area by itself, because that's where the product was missing. Well, and you can slightly blend it so it's not gonna just stay like that. And now we'll have the smooth surface for encapsulation. Cure. Regular aluminum foil works for me, just no cut into strips. I use all the time rainless wrap heavy duty kitchen foil. Yeah, thanks, Kisa, that's the one that I meant. So what it does, you just take it and apply it on the other side of the form. So once you create the C-curve, it will hold it there for you. And it's so helpful when you're working with beaten nails, with wide nails, with the clients that's moving too much during the service. It will just hold it right there. People stir their gel. Well, you usually do that if you have a color gel because the color might separate. But with a clear gel, you do not need to do that. We do not want bubbles, as well as with the nude colors. Okay, I think that's enough. And let me see if we can do that just in one step or we'll need two. Okay, so now it's gonna be once again another challenge, clear on clear. I mean clear on glitter is almost, this is a challenge for the eyes. So we will, the reflection of the light will be our guarding light. Okay, so then I take about this amount of gel. We have pretty much on the cuticle already, so I'm just going to slightly encapsulate it. And then we're going to seal it. Oh, it looks pretty once we seal it. It's a bummer the nail is see-through. And then I'm gonna need more. So I personally prefer this kind of consistency. It's like medium. It's not too runny and it's not too thick, because it like helps you to create a perfect surface while it's not running too much. With a thicker consistency, it's not gonna go anywhere, but you need to do some work to apply it. So if you spend too much time on that, what you can also do is just to, okay, another way. Yeah, just to turn the hand around and let the gravity help you a bit. And it actually will. And then we cure it. If it burns, just let me know and jump out of the lamp so we can pinch it. And if it doesn't, then we'll just wait for 15 to 20 seconds. Honestly, I don't really remember about this gel, what's exactly, what the exact time for this product, because it varies. Okay, it doesn't, it's no heat spikes. Okay, so you see, yeah, that's why we divided this into multiple steps. That's why it's not burning. If we would done that all in just one step, oh, sorry, yeah, it's gonna be different. Okay, so with gel, we cannot really hold it while it's curing. It's okay, doesn't hurt. You sure? Okay. And then, so we cured it for only 20 seconds now, and now we need to cure the remaining time. So the full time is 1 minute, so 60 minus 20 equals 40. So now we need to cure the remaining 40 seconds. So you're working in a sandwich-like technique. Ways there's a possibility for our color not to be compatible with the polygel and crack after a while since we put hard gel on top too. Well, I'm using this technique a lot on my clients. Honestly, I never had this kind of problem. So with the polygel, we apply it very thin, so it's just like a tip, just like a platform. It might be a problem if you apply like more polygel, so it's going to be half-half, because the gel and polygel, they are a bit different in flexibility. But when you apply it super thin, I honestly never have had problems when combining them. I actually use this exact technique like a lot when it's first we have polygel and then we have gel. So you see, now we take it off and our nail is more narrow. Well, yeah, so we need just a little bit on the apex. Let me show you. Oh, okay, you can see it from the side view. So we need a little bit here. And we have already enough in the cuticle area, on the side walls. So no need to add anything there. That's why I'm going to apply gel only in the middle, only in the area where it is missing. And then I'm going to take another drop and apply it like that. So you see, like, only where I need it. And then I'm going to slightly blend it. Looks pretty cool when you cover the glitter with the gel. It's like shines so much better. All right. Cure. I learned where Marina thought I use a fair DIY tube, cut it open, clean it, and put it behind the form. I live in Holland. I've been using this technique for 2 years now, and I love it. Thank you, Camilla, for sharing. Yeah, actually, the tubes from the hair color, or just any metallic tubes that you can find, that's exactly what I used to use before I found these form stiffeners. I don't think I have any with me, but yeah, that's the exact material that you can use. Now let's put our brushes away so they will not get dusty. Okay, so the idea now was just to show you guys that it doesn't really matter what kind of product you use, what kind of technique you use. It just, whatever what you're doing, whenever you can feel the product, you will always get a good result. Now, yeah, it looks like it is cured. Let's just cure one more just to be sure. Okay, you can see it from here. So I just put a clip, cure. Fancy stainless steel rolling cooler sounds strange, but it's cute. I have actually held the lamp upside down to keep it from running into sidewalls. Oh, like that? Yeah. You can do that, but also be careful, because if the gel is super thin, like water, and it's like too runny, what I had once, well, not once, more than that, and also when you apply like decent amount of gel, it runs to the middle, you cure it like that, and then you end up with a product that's like, a triangle apex, like it's all the way up there. But yeah, if you play with it, it's definitely helpful. Okay, I guess I need to read all your comments on the way up, because, some of them are somehow related to the one on tops. How to fix a crooked natural nail with a form. Yeah, we can do that on the scheme right after the demo. I have learned the hard way not to use cheap forms. They don't stick. Rennie, exactly. Yeah, me too. That was just a nightmare. I remember using those forms and using this paper stapler all the time for my competition. Can you believe that? Because I was, a certain company was training me, well, EasyFlow, I can say the name, and I had to use their products, and they did not really stick well back then. And can you imagine when you have to do nails in a very short period of time, and you just waste your time on the stapler? Yeah, that was super stressful for me. Okay, now we take off the sticky layer. So you see also the difference, like the gel, it's like clear and glittery right away, while the acrylic is matte after curing. But after we file them and shape them and seal with a top coat, they both are going to be shiny. Now let's shape them, and as I always say, shaping is also another thing you need to learn. But I think it's not as hard as product application, and also it really depends on how you apply the product. So the better you apply the product, the less you'll have to file. Okay, this one is a bit longer. Wow, I did the longer one on the forms. Now that's unusual. Okay, now let's file the surface. So I am using 180 grit file. I rarely use something else. Coarser file, because, well, sometimes maybe 150. But if you have to use like 100 grit, or even, oh my God, 80, which I never recommend using, that means what it means. That means you apply too much product. I mean, right? I mean, if you have to use that harsh of abrasive, they're just too much to file. So I would recommend to practice more on the product application. Now I have a very cruel exercise for my students at live class. I mean, I cannot apply it to online class. Well, actually, maybe we should. Anyway, so this is what I do. First, practice. The students do extensions. And when it's time to file, just imagine their first time applying acrylic. Usually there's like tons of product. If you guys remember your first nails, you know what I'm talking about. And then I just give them 180 grit file and nothing else. I do not let them use 150 or especially 100. And then what they do, they file this tons of products with 180. And by the end of the day, they cannot feel their biceps, triceps, you know, none of their muscles, because obviously they had to file a lot. And do you know what happens the next day? Well, except for that they cannot feel their hands. They apply like 3 times less product and they get such a better result. I know it's kind of cruel, but it works. So, I mean, if you are learning, or maybe if you will attend our class, maybe you can try that too. If you feel like being hard on yourself. So the reason why people usually, when they just start learning product application, it doesn't even matter gel or acrylic, usually they tend to apply more than needed. And the reason for that is just that you cannot really feel the amount of product you take on a brush compared to what you will have on the nail, right? You cannot really imagine that yet. And well, that's fully understandable because you didn't have this experience yet. That's why we added some exercises, like there's an exercise when you need to apply acrylic beads on the paper and, you know, to fill in a certain place. Then we have exercises on the tips that you do like without the model. You just first practice this application. And I think these exercises, they're very important because you need to learn to feel the product first, you know, just to know how to work with it before you apply this skill and knowledge to the real life, well, to models or clients. Where do you get clear nail clips? You guys, yeah, AliExpress, definitely, they have tons of them. Also, if they're on Amazon. If you guys need an Amazon link, just I have one at it's Amazon/shop/Nailcou. Have like my favorite list products here. You can find it there. You just, if you go to any of my YouTube videos, I have this link in my description box of any video. Okay, so that's pretty much it. No, we need to file. So this glitter gel, it got a little bit to the side right here. You see, so we need to fix that. And that will be it. So gel and polygel are a bit easier to file rather to acrylic. So that's why it usually takes a little less. But I always say that ideally the shaping and filing of the entire set should not take longer than 15, max 20 minutes. Like 20 minutes is truly like max time. If it takes longer than that, that means that, well, you applied too much. You need to work on product application. How to avoid bubbles when applying with hard gel, especially clear gel? Julia is asking. Well, you do not need to stir it with your brush and while applying. Once you take the drop of the gel, you apply it on the nail, and you never lose connection with the brush and gel. They always should stay together, like they're glued together. Once you do, you get So you just stretch the gel like that, and here's an open area for an air, for a bubble to come in, right? So just try to avoid this kind of situations. Okay, now we only need to file side. Well, since we have a tip here, it's pretty much, the shape is kind of created for us, but I still want to make it a bit straighter. And the other side. Yes, thank you. See, guys, I have a very good model who's always in charge that we are in the frame. And just finish up with the cuticle area. So filing is, and shaping part is mostly you're just taking care of some imperfections of the application, and that's it, right? It's not like you just apply the product, just drop the product on the nail and then with a file you carve the perfect shape. I really don't see it that way. You have to see a nice shape after the application already. If you do not, then probably it will not change much after filing. Okay, so filing, well, it will help, I mean, definitely, but you need to see like a good result after the application. And also filing is harder, I mean, in terms of physical work, right? Rather than applying with a brush. So it's always better to spend a bit more time on perfecting the application, on applying the product, rather than. Okay, now that when we have two nails, I will do some final touches from this view. Just to make sure they're straight. Yeah, this color, the gel, looks a bit yellowish. I really wonder how it's going to look like when we seal it. And this one is more like pink. Well, this one is a little longer. Okay, now let's just buff it and seal it with a top coat. I think 220 grit buffer will be enough. What is the ideal thickness of the nails? Well, it depends. Yeah, I will show you on the camera. Actually, right now they're not too thick. Not too thin. They're rather thick because like this nail is on tips. And when you're working on tips, I do not recommend making it like extremely thin, because the product should cover the tip, and when working with just product, you can make this thinner. So this is the thickness, like I can say it's super thin. Actually rather thick, but we have polygel here, we have gel, and also see like this nail is also not too short, right? If it would be this length, we can make it much thinner. It also depends on the shape. Like this is a square shape. With a square shape, we file a nail like that, so you can see the entire thickness from this view. But if you have, let's say, an almond, you file it like that. You hold the file at an angle, and the nails might be rather thick, but they will look thinner. So it's really like hard to tell, but the most important part is that the nails should be pretty thick right here in the apex area all the time, and thinner on the free edge as well as across the side walls. Okay, so I think, yeah, now is always the time. Actually, we can, yeah, I think we can make it a bit thinner right here. You can probably cannot really see it, guys, because it's clear. I myself can hardly see it. So if you want to make the nails thinner, you need just to file this area, but I do not recommend filing like that, because what you will do, you just make an illusion that they are thinner, which may be fine as well. But if you want to actually, yeah, I think that's the perfect angle. So you see from this angle, we can actually see this thickness and make it fully thinner. So now I think it's almost like a credit card thickness. That's what I would call it. Okay, that's enough. We need to stop at some point, right? And now I will ask my model to wash the hands, because I'm not sure I can handle that much dust by myself. I usually do that, always ask my clients to go wash their hands, and we can, oh, you see, here's another fun, no, not that. So you see, we have this amount of dust. Well, that's kind of look a lot in the camera. There's a fun story of my students. She was always doing like that after filing. And when she just started, after her first practice, it was, just huge. And I remember one of those days she did that again, and she was like, whoa, like, Anastasia, check this out. I have such a small pile of nail dust. That means I was like applying better, so I have less to file. And I was like, wow, that's a nice way to measure your success. But yeah, good job. So, I mean, you can use that too. But I mean, I didn't even thought of that this way. Okay, so now let me get rid of I'll change my gloves, so I won't have any dust on them. At this point, also wait, we need to clean the table to make sure we do not have any dust at all. Yeah, Yogi has a thinner polygel too. No, Round Logo is the thinner nails. Oh, guys, you're talking about the different brands of the products. And by the way, you probably noticed that I used a thick consistency polygel for platform, right, for the first coat. And then there was a medium consistency gel for the middle. So I just think that it's easier that way. Is it possible to create a perfect C-curves with just using forms? Jessica, if you mean just by using forms without pinching, it is on a certain types of nails. On white nails, on beaten nails, on ski jump nails, you will need to pinch as well. But if you do not mean, if you're not referred to pinching at all, like just using forms, then yeah, absolutely. I would say it's much easier to create a C-curve with forms than anything else. Okay, so I'm going to use this beautiful shiny, I just keep this bottle for the webinars because, I mean, it's just too pretty to use every day. Shiny by Exclusive Nail Couture. How do you determine how high apex should be depending on the length in gel? Well, it should be in this area if the length is equal or shorter than the length of the natural nail bed. Once it's longer, the apex should go a little bit further. And you mentioned in gel, but the rule is pretty much the same for any product. Please don't be ugly. Okay, well, yeah, the color. The colors, oh yeah, because I was really afraid that it's going to be yellow or something. Well, luckily it's not. Well, maybe a little bit from certain angles. Okay. And then we seal. So with acrylics, there's usually a wow because we never saw it that shiny. It was always matte, and then you do that, and the client is like, wow. You can actually see how it shines. Okay, cure. Okay, so there was the question about the crooked nail. Let me explain it really quick to you. So let's say if the nail is looking to the side, like that. Oh, it's probably too much, but usually, right, that's kind of what a nail is. So you need, when fitting the form, you need to follow the line of the finger, right? So it's like still should go this way. Oops. Straight. So sometimes the finger must be a bit crooked too, especially the first phalanx. So you need to look on the entire finger, like all the way from up here, and then use something straight, I don't know, brush, like anything, just put it straight, and this is how you measure this. So regardless of where the nail is looking, the form should just go like that. So now, well, on this scheme, we already have the form, so it looks straight. But in real life, when a nail is like that, you fit the form, it's gonna look like the form is facing an opposite way. So if the nail is like that, the form will look like it's going that way. I mean, it's definitely gonna look like that, but when you do the nail, when you do the extension and apply the color, you will not be able to see this part because it's gonna be covered with a color, like, okay, this one, and it's gonna be look all straight. Well, even like if this part is gonna remain like that, it will still look nice, okay, because of this part. And sometimes it's confusing also when this area is not straight, it's just, you know, just changed in a weird way. Sometimes what's really helpful, what I do, I just take the brush and block this area for myself so I can see the nail and the extension only, and then I can see how it will fully look like. Make sense? I hate tips in general. I live in a country where aren't really great nail products available. I just ship stuff down, and forms have really helped to create nice structured nails because most women in our country have fan-shaped hooky nails. Ashani, what country is that? Now I'm curious. It got me intrigued. All right, so here we have, wow, yeah, here we have finished glitter nails, gel, polygel, acrylic. So at this point, well, you know where I use forms and tips, but I just wanted to show you that if you know what you're doing, if you know how to work with the product, you can make them pretty similar. My choice, personal choice, is most times is forms, just because it's faster and just because most of my clients, they have challenging nails. Okay, let's call them like that. They always have nails with some kind of problems. I don't have much of standard nails, and the forms are just the best way and solution to fix it. You know, once you have the nail we just talked about, the crooked nail, you just apply the form in a certain way, and now it's straight. Okay, now let's take a look from the side view. Here we have an apex. Let's take a look from the C-curve. Ooh, we have still some dust there. Now we have a C-curves. Okay, so I think you see, guys, due to the color. So this nail is a bit thicker, and currently it's like only because we have a tip down there. Like normally that will be just an acrylic nail without tip. That will be a bit thinner, probably the same one as here. All right, that nail looks beautiful, thank you. Okay, guys, now I'm ready to read some of your comments. Really incredible. I've watched and learned from her. She's great. Oh, thank you, Janelle. Thank you, guys, for all of your compliments. I'm actually reading all of the comments on the YouTube. Sometimes I'm not physically able to reply to all of them, but I just want to tell you that I appreciate everything Anastasia, do you ever use e-file to shape the nails? Not after extensions. For fills, yes. For removal, absolutely. For some kind of design sometimes, but for just extensions, no. I mean, why would you need that? Because you see, we just cut the nail, we quickly shape it. I don't see any reason to do that. Maybe if you accidentally apply too much, you can. But we teach how to do extensions without that, because I really think you don't need that at this point. I use e-file for prep, for cuticle care, yes, but not this one. Okay, now let's switch back to our presentation, because now we also have some fun part. So how about taking your nail sculpting game to the next level? Would you guys want to be able to do the same like I just showed you? And there are actually, now I will show you that it is quite possible. So these are, actually I think I know who this set belongs to. This person is here. So I just want to show you some works of our students at Nails Pro Academy. So now we finished the demo part. I will share some information about the courses that we have, and then we'll have a giveaway of online course, and then we'll have a Q&A session, okay? So I just want to show you some works of our students, because I can speak about our school and classes for a long time, but results are better than words, right? So just want to show you some of the nails our students are turning in. Most of those are graduate works, so the ones that you do at the end. Some of them are acrylic, some of them are gel, and you see it's possible. Like once you follow all the assignments. And also you can see the nails now from a different angles, because that's what we require to do, like to take a picture from the front view, from the side view. This is pink and white from the gel course, and here's another view from the side view, because we also want to make sure that you have apex on point, that you have side walls on point, as well as the C-curve. She's giving away an online course. Yes, I am. So if you guys want to participate in a giveaway, which will start just in a few minutes, make sure you're watching from nailsproacademy.com, because we will count only comments from the website, okay, not from the YouTube. So you have a few minutes to log in from there. Now, would you like to be able to do the same? Now, this is the screenshot of the message I got yesterday. Hey, I was just wondering, how much would it cost if I have bitten my nails? Because I watched one of your bitten nails transformation, and I get this kind of messages like every day. And yes, I know that some of you might think like, well, of course, Anastasia, you have so many following. Of course you do. But the thing is, I received them even when I started. I mean, I started from zero. English is not even my native language. I learned it when I was a teenager already. So, I mean, it wasn't easy for me as well, but we all started somewhere. We all started from zero following, from zero skill at all, right? And even back then, I received many messages like that, because I showed it, Once I had this client with the bitten nails, I just posted the picture before and after. And at this point, some people saw that, oh my God, it is possible for my bitten nails to do something to them. Can you do that too? So it's quite important that you do this kind of transformations and you share them with the world, right? I just think that those people, they never thought that it's possible. But now that I showed it to them, they started coming and coming. I guess that's why I had most bitten nails clients from my city as my clients. So I could do it with some patience and practice, and over actually, that's 40K graduates already did it in our school, and you guys can absolutely do that too. What website? I log into nailsproacademy.com. Just go there. There is a banner on top, Tips versus Forms webinar. Just click on it, register, and go inside. So this is, and just another example of how I post the pictures. So this is the nail we had before. This is what we have after. So this is just a simple extension. I believe this one was acrylic, I guess. So we're not just doing nails. That's what I really believe. We're not, just filing someone's nails. We're actually helping people to see how beautiful they are. And I'm not just, I know it probably sounds a bit cheesy, but I see these emotions every day. When a client like that comes to me with the beaten nails, do you know how she comes? I swear, they just put their hands on my table like that. And I'm like, don't worry, I'm kind of like a doctor. You can just don't feel that shy, because they're just so used to hiding their hands, their nails from the world. And after I'm done with extensions, they're like a queens, their like moves of their hands, they just change. They're like, just behaving completely differently, because now they just love the look of their hands. And man, that's awesome. I even have goosebumps now as I remember all these episodes. And if you're working with the clients, you probably know what I'm talking about. Like, this helps to gain confidence for a woman. And once you're confident about yourself, about how you look, you can rock the world, right? So that's why I'm so passionate about what I do, and just doing it every day. So nail transformations, they're always in demand. Clients will desperately try to schedule an appointment with you once you show them that you are able to do that. And also, nail artists offering nail transformations, they usually earn more dollars. That's just a thought for you guys. If you are already doing that, just please show it more so the people can actually see that you're able. Oh my God. Okay, we have some pictures. So if you are Nails Pro Academy, you can watch them too. If you are not, then you just have to watch my reaction. So we have a picture from Anna, extremely beaten nails on forms, Instagram. Oh, okay. So I guess that's something you did before. Awesome. Good job. So we have Gabriella, clients with worse nails. It took me 2 hours. Well, 2 hours is not that bad. Oh my God, that's a good job. So we had beaten nails before, now we have almond nails. That's what I'm talking about. That's, guys, what you should do to earn more money. Okay, now let's talk about what we will be have specials today, and also one lucky winner will get that for free. So this is an online nail sculpting class, level 1. This is the most popular class, and I believe one of the most informative class that we have currently, because it includes natural nail anatomy, product chemistry, form fitting, 13 lessons, product application practice, hands-on practice, nail preparation, filing, color application. And that's not just the name of one lesson. There are over 100 lessons, just the essence of the topics that we have. So each class is available in 3 technologies: acrylic, hard gel, or polygel. And you can choose just one. You can choose 2 or all 3. It's really up to you. If you decide to take all 3, I recommend to start with acrylic. Acrylic first, and then hard gel probably, and then polygel. That's the sequence I recommend if you decide to take all 3. So there are over 100 lessons in high definition. It's not the webinar you're just watching now. This is a live stream, and if you're watching a replay, that's the same, because when it's pre-recorded, there is a different quality. There's a good quality when you can see all the details. We use the micro lens for some lessons when we updated it, so you can see all the small details. We have quiz and test just to make sure you're doing it right way. We have live teacher graded assignments, certificate of completion for each class. So if you will take, let's say, acrylic and hard gel, you will get certificate for acrylic and hard gel separately. So that's 2 certificates. You will get an access to international students chat. I see some students that are already in this chat, and you will get a lifetime access to the chat. So once you're in, you just stay there with us, and we just talk about some things there, sometimes give some recommendations where to order something. And we have some new stuff that's new for 2020. So I decided to add an orientation online live class, which is gonna take place next week, August 2nd, I believe, next Sunday. So this is going to be kind of like we're having a webinar now, but it's going to be private, available only for our students. And I will just give you some updates about the latest stuff in the nail industry, explain how our school, how our system works, how to take the class, how to take most of the class, maybe some motivational stuff for you to get started. And you can ask any questions if you have. And if some of you are watching this webinar and you're currently taking this class, you can attend that as well. Also, we will have another live, which is shaping troubleshooting. It's also going to be a live stream and Q&A. And it's going to be at a certain time, and if you're unable to attend it, or you already have some plans for this time, do not worry, it's going to be recorded and it's going to be available for you throughout the course. And another thing I'm really proud about, because it took us 2 weeks to do that, a form-fitting mini book by Nails Pro Academy. Well, I have a printed version. You will get that in PDF. You can just use it and read it on your device, or you can print it out too. So it just includes detailed information on form fitting, how to cut the forms, what to do, what not to do. You also have a detailed video lessons about form fitting as well, but we just, decided to add some material, so it's going to be a bit easier for you, and it's all included in this class. You guys excited? All this information. Does the class give license that apply to state country regulations? So we give CEU credits. I will give you that information in a moment. And as far as I know, like in other countries other than US, you don't really need that. Oh my God, we have more entries. Lila, the first time she had done her nails in 7 years. Beautiful. Anna, hard gel on form. Beautiful. Lita, polygel and hard gel. Awesome. You guys are okay. Yeah, that's a beautiful baby boomer. Awesome. We have so many talented nail technicians here. Okay, now who wants to win online nail sculpting class of your choice? So there will be one class, one winner, and once you win, you will be able to pick which technology you want, acrylic, hard gel, or polygel. All right? So you will get a 6-month access, and to do that, once again, last call for the folks watching on the YouTube. That's fine if you're watching there, but the comments will be counted at nailsproacademy.com only at this point. So you need to drop a comment of your biggest nail goal at the moment. Like, it can be just one word, like forms, fitting forms, or you can just write something longer. And I will randomly pick the lucky winner. So what I will do, I'm going to type me, pick me, like I am, does not count, guys. You need to be, to listen. So you need to drop a comment of your biggest nail goal at the moment. Me is not really, well, no, that doesn't sound like a goal to me. So I will drop the comment myself saying stop. And then we're going to count. So here's my comment that says stop, okay? Then we're going to count. There's one comment on top of mine. So it's going to be 1, there's going to be 2, there's going to be 3. And the third comment on top of mine will be the winner. But this comment should contain a goal. If there's going to be pick me, we'll count the another one, okay? So I just want to give everyone a chance to do that because, someone might have slow connection, or just I know this live stream has pauses sometimes, and I will just quickly share what else you will get. Okay, so we have a high quality lessons. This is how they will look like. You just click play, you just watch the detailed class. We have theory, we have schemes like I just showed you, we have lots of practice lessons. And you can watch it from any device, like anywhere at the comfort of your home, during your commute, in the office, like anywhere. You can use your laptop, your iPad, your phone, whatever works for you. Well, big screen is preferable, definitely, for learning, but if you have a small one, that's fine too. Then you will get a feedback. Isa is our main teacher who will be checking your assignments, and let's say you have a mistake, she will point it out like that with the graphics, like with this, arrows, or just point it out like, here, you need to work a little bit here. If everything's okay, she just accept it and you proceed to the next lesson. If something is wrong, you need to fix that first, resend what you've fixed, and then you can proceed. So this is a lot like a live education, you know, like an actual imitation of the live education, but the only difference is that it's online. Now, then you will pass the exam, you will post your final entry, your beautiful nails that you've done for the design, for the exam, and then you'll get certificates, maybe multiple certificates if you will attend a few classes. If you choose just acrylic, you will get acrylic certificate. If you choose just gel, it's going to be gel certificate. If it's going to be 3 of them, you'll get 3 certificates. Okay, so, and the last thing before we drop the, oh my God, okay, you have so many participants today, the deals. So 1 class, acrylic gel or polygel, this is the regular price of it, $3.99. So you will all get teacher support certificate. For 1 class, there is 6-month access and 50 CEU units. That was the question about the CEU units. For 2 classes, there's 100 CEU units. For 3 classes, 150 CEU units. For 2 classes, you have 9 months access. And the reason for that, why it doesn't double, is because there are so many topics that will intersect a bit. Let's say once you learn how to prep the nail and fit the form, it's pretty much the same for acrylic and gel and polygel. It's nice to practice it again. By the way, you will definitely master it once you practice it multiple times, but it's not like you need to start over. That's why we did it in that way. And for 3 classes, you will get 12 months of access, 1 year of learning. Can you imagine that? But those are regular prices, and today we definitely have specials for you. So for this webinar, 1 class is only $2.99. 2 classes come with a 45% off, which is $4.99, and the 3 classes are $5.99. And all this stuff you will also have, including orientation class, live class, and form-fitting mini ebook. Now, this is how it looks like. These offers are under the video, so you just need to choose the option that you want, 1, 2, or 3 classes, fill in your email, and then you will see the final price and you can apply. All right, guys, time to pick the winner. Okay, I have, first let me just quickly, okay, I typed stop already. I just want to quickly view your challenges. Polygel, C-curve, gel, acrylic. My goal is to develop new product to make life of nail techs easier, but I need to start somewhere. Stripes, Apex, learning form, baby boomer. Nice tips. Okay, so yeah, most of these challenges you mentioned, we definitely can help you with that, and this class will be helpful, like most of them. I'm not sure about stripes, that's more of a nail art, but e-filing, forms, polygel, C-curve, cuticle structure. Okay, guys, I type the comment stop and I drop in it in 5, 4, I shouldn't have done it with my pretty hand, 3, 2, 1, and I'm posting stop comment. Oops, it didn't post. Okay, I did. Now, please help me now to read that, because that's gonna jump real soon. Can you do that? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'll do a screenshot, okay, guys, because I don't want to make a mistake. Yes, I did the screenshot because they're just running so fast. I don't want to mess it up. Okay, on top of my comment, 1, 2, 3. Building a Beta Apex, Nelly Pinion. Congratulations, girl. Okay, so please drop us a message, or we'll find you like with your name. All you need to do is just pick the technology that you prefer, acrylic gel or polygel, and that's it. Thank you guys so much for participating, and now I am ready to answer your questions if you have any. So I see that most of the challenges that you mentioned, there was a lot about forms, there was a lot about Apex. What else? Buffing, and well, most of you also just mentioned some products such as gel, acrylic, tips, cuticle. We have some manicure classes, but this one will be mostly helpful for you for the shaping. So Apex is more like a structured challenge, right? So you just need to know how to apply the product. And in our classes, we give like I mentioned, many exercises. Like for acrylic class, there's an exercise on paper. For gel and polygel, there's an exercise on the tips that looks like, let me show you, tips like that. Practice tips. Well, you can use any, but these are just easier to use. So what you do, you just do this exercise, then you take a picture in the different angles, from the side view, from the top view, and then we check it. Because building Apex, actually think about it, you don't really need a person to practice applying the product. You can do it on tip. And people who do mistakes in Apex placement, they do them on tips as well. That's why we'll give you time to perfect this application on the tips first before you proceed to this application on the live person. Can you please repeat who the winner is? It's Nelly Pinion. Would like to learn. Oh, okay, that's the challenging. Pretty sure she said she was only counting comments on the other side. Yes, guys, the comments were on the Nails Pro Academy website, but I will be replying to your questions from the website as well as from the YouTube. I'm really grateful for the opportunity given to us. I'm really excited to take my skills to the next level regarding sculpting artificial nails. Thank you so much, Jenny, and I really hope that you guys learn something new today. Oh, okay, we have, yeah, the winner. Congratulations. She said my name right. I'm actually so surprised. Okay, how to avoid bubbles on hard gel, Julia is asking. Okay, let's talk about that. So the bubbles, usually they actually appear in all gels. Did you guys know that? It's just only clear when we can see them, right? In white or in nude, you just don't see them, but it doesn't mean they're not there. So you need to avoid, I'm wearing a glove because I'm trying not to touch the gel without glove, otherwise I will get sticky all the way. It's like happens to me all the time. Okay, so when applying gel, you need to avoid, well, first of all, do not stir it in the jar because there's just no point of doing that. So once you apply the gel, do not do this, even though it's really satisfying, right? Do not do this. Even when you pick up gel, how to pick up, you see there's a bubble. Guys, can you see this big bubble? Because I let the air inside. So how to pick the gel without the bubble? You just go closer to the edge of the jar and pick it up like that. Okay, and now we have the gel without bubbles. Now when you apply it on the nail, you should not lose connection. Oops, we have some here. Oh well. So you see, once you do something like that, there are going to be bubbles as well. So you just do not lose connection with the nail and the gel. Just apply it back and forth until you fully apply it. Thank you so much. You helped me to repair my husband's nails with your YouTube video with grandma. Congrats to the winner. Awesome. Yeah, that's really great, guys, if you're applying some of the technique and, you know, the knowledge that I shared. That's like super rewarding to see that and to read that. I am wondering if it would be possible to get fully certified as a nail tech through your online classes if I'm accumulated enough CEU. I'm a beginner and still learning the lingo. Lila, can you please private message us because the rules are very different depending on the state where you are. They have different requirements, and if you will message us and tell us where you're located, we can work on that and give you a bit more information. I'm not sure if we can get you like 100% certified because it's, like I said, it depends on the location, but we can definitely help you to do the majority of that at the moment. Do you use polygel to create the tips with forms more than a hard gel? I find it much easier, and that's what you did in the webinar. Was that the way you did it or just a coincidence? Well, I mean, in the real life, I use, let me just, so mean, in real life, it really depends. And since most of the time I'm not just doing clients' nails, I'm also doing, tutorials. I'm trying out new products. And if my goal is just to try out the gel, then I would definitely just take the gel and do the first layer with the gel, then I will cover it with the hard gel. So it's different all the time. I can't say I only use this technique. And no, not necessarily. Sometimes I just do the entire nail from the polygel. So it depends on the goal I'm working on, what I want to achieve, if I want to try out the product, if I want to try out a certain color, probably like that. How do you not overfile sidewalls when creating shapes? Mine always end up thin, curved, and break easily. Tina, that's a very good question. Let me see if I have a decent nail for this example. Okay, it looks like I do. All right, so to not overfile the sidewalls, first of all, you need to build them in a way that you have enough of the sidewall, right? If you have barely like product here, once you file them, oops, they're already overfiled. So when you apply them, if you're using forms, you can apply a bit more, okay, not 3 times, just a little bit more over here. So then when you file and straighten them out, you will not touch it. Also, when filing them, do not press in this area because this is the most vulnerable one, right? This is the one where we get cracks. This is the one where nails start to break. So you need to file the entire line, and I recommend you to give all the pressure right here on the free edge and just lightly touch this part. Lila, do you see the blue bubble down on the right side here? Oh, okay, that's the private message. Yeah, if you're logged in, all you need to do is just to, yeah, there's the blue bubble, or you can just click on the feedback. How do I place the order? So under the video, if you're at Nails Pro Academy website, let me click. So under the video, you will see, well, maybe not exact this picture, but there's a bit different one. You will see the options, and then you need to choose one, fill in your email, and click on this blue button. That was great, thank you. Sure. I started teaching myself 3 years ago with gel and have watched nearly every video you've posted since then and have learned so much. Thank you. Thank you, Leah. How can you do if you are out of base coat primer before applying polygel? COVID-19 has affected my shipping needs and I don't want to lose my clients. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Well, with primer is actually bad if you don't have it. I cannot really imagine what can be a replacement, but with a base coat, if you have a thin consistency gel, then you can apply a super thin layer directly on the nail, cure it, and then apply a nail. It's not going to be exactly the same, but it's definitely better than nothing. We have a question from Problems Fan. What got you into doing nails? Like, what inspired you to start? Unfortunately, it's not a very romantic story. It's pretty simple. I just wanted to make money. I was studying in university and I was like, man, I want, to be independent, to have some money. And I was like, what can I do? I just looked through different options like doing tattoos, being a cosmetologist. For being cosmetologist, you need to have, in our country, you need to have some basic medical background. For tattoos, you need to be able to paint beautifully. I could not. Piercing, but then when I figured out what are people piercing, sometimes I was like, oh, okay, I'm not sure about that. And then I thought nails. I was a client myself. I was doing nail extensions, and I thought that would be nice. I could do nails for myself too. And I went to the beauty school and I started, and now 15 years passed, and here I am. Is it possible to file my natural nails to fit the nails form? Absolutely. I mean, you need just to file them short. There's no special way of filing them. You just file them as short as possible, and this is how they should be filed for fitting the forms. How thick should polygel be? I find that in nail couture polygel doesn't last as long as others, and I find a lot of lifting happens with clients. Well, lifting has nothing to do with the thickness. Lifting is more about the prep, about the product being fully cured, and about structure. Well, thick, it's about the same. Like the nails I just showed you, I would do exact same thickness if I would be using exclusive nail couture polygel on her right now. So it's about the credit card thickness to medium to long nails. Short nails can be about like the size of the thickness of the business card. It's about that. I have problems when I apply gel or gel polish on natural nails without extensions. It lifts within a couple of days. I know it's not the topic, but I hope someone will help. Of course. Well, if you apply it on the natural nails that are long, sometimes they might have, you know, some curves, sometimes they might be growing downwards, and that might be the case. And if they're like that, there's not that much we can do rather than switch to extensions. Also, it's a matter of prep. Like you need to prep the nails really well. You need to clean them underneath with dehydrator as well. You need to shape them. You need to buff the free edge so it won't be too sharp. Otherwise, you might have some peeling on the free edge. And that's pretty much it. The prep is the same as for extensions. It's dehydrator, is primer, and the application should be the same. It should be super thin near the cuticles and along the sidewalls. Is it possible? All right. Okay, so last couple questions, if you guys have any. I know there's been many throughout the webinar, but I probably missed some of them. So maybe it's already clear for you now. I just want to say, oh my God, guys, this is probably the longest webinar we have. I'm sorry. I hope I didn't kept you from some things, but that was fun, right? I personally didn't notice how the time passed. I hope you enjoyed it as well. So if you would like to enroll to these classes, feel free to do so. There's an offer under the video. If you would like to split the payment into 2 installments, that's absolutely possible. You just need to place the order and contact us, and we will do that for you. So August 3rd, August 2nd, next Sunday, we will do a live orientation class with me, and I will guide you through all of the things we're about to do, but you can start taking the class immediately right after payment. So if you enroll today, you can just start doing these exercises today. And then I will do this online orientation class, then we will do this live, and during that, you will also learn how to do all that. You will also get this Fitting the Forms mini book, which, you know, will guide you through all of the steps. So do not forget about all the things that you will get. Is there a difference between metal or plastic pinch clips? Yeah. So plastic, they are clear. So that's why they work great with gel, because metallic they're not, and this is how metallic works. It reflects the light. That's why you may notice that in LED lamps, the bottom it's metallic as well, because it reflects the light. That's why how it gets fully cured. When using metallic clips on gel, the light will be reflected through them, and it might cause heat spikes. Also, the metallic will block this part of the nail from fully curing, and it might not fully cure in this part. That's why I recommend plastic for gel. For acrylic, it doesn't matter. You can use any. But also metallic, usually they're pretty rough. Most people will find them a bit painful, you know, too sensitive for that. Always love your webinar. Will never stop learning. Anastasia classes are the best. Thank you, Linda. Actually, there have been some of Linda's work. I showed you in examples of our students' work. I believe she had all of the classes that we currently have at Nails Pro Academy, and that's so great. Thank you guys so much for returning again and again, for helping other students. And if you want to be part of this community, you're always welcome. Like, we'd really love to help you to bring your nail game to the next level. Okay, so looks like we replied to most of the questions, guys. I look forward to seeing you again. Congratulations to the winner. Okay, we went through the Nails Pro Academy. Do not forget to keep in touch. We are Nails Pro Academy on all the social media, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, not that much on Snapchat, but on TikTok as well. me, it's Nailcou in pretty much everywhere. And thank you so much for watching. I'm wishing you a great Sunday, a great week ahead. Webinar was amazing, and you're amazing, Nail Tech. Thank you so much, Ivana. You are guys are so welcome. I look forward to seeing you again. And remember, never stop learning. Goodbye.